It's hard to understand the way that you went out. I bet you're living with a little hint of doubt. Maybe next time when you gotta show your hand, you won't cut and run, you'll finally make a stand. 'Cause I know it's true, I'm finally getting to you. We're not through. Yeah, I know it's true, I'm finally getting to you. Existential questions always get you down. All you want to know is are we lost or found? Is there something that you feel you need to chase? I bet you thought you'd put me in my place. 'Cause I know it's true, I'm finally getting to you. We're not through. I know it's true, I'm finally getting to you. Yeah, I know it's true, I'm finally getting to you. We're not through. Yeah, I know it's true, I'm finally getting to you. You can run, you can hide, but inside, I'm finally getting to you. Yes, it's true. I still love you, but I am getting to you.
Stand by to initiate release sequencer. On my mark.
We're on express elevator to hell. Going down.
2, 1. Mark.
Welcome back to the Resupply with me, Guy Next Door.
Me, Funhouse guy next door.
And me, Van.
I should have changed your name tag. Bringing you your semi-regular double tap of all things Space Marines and Laser Force. It's been a couple of weeks since we've been on the mics, and it's very nice to see you boys. How are you? You good? You good? Everyone good?
I mean, aside from... I feel like this is just a normal thing for me right now. Aside from the usual, corporate America bullshit, yeah, I'm fine. Yes. Man, Evil Corp USA pays decently, great benefits, but god damn, does it feel like we do some stupid shit.
Wouldn't it be awesome if you didn't, have a conscience or a soul or whatever you want to call it, and then you could just do the corporate thing and not care? Wouldn't that be awesome?
Well, it's more for me. It's more because I'm in this weird middle management position that doesn't actually have any real power, but I'm still considered middle management. I have exposure to some of the financial side of things, but I can't do anything about the financial side of things. And so there's a whole thing going on right now where like all of our IT teams are being told, oh, you're 20% over, but or not. There's been a 20% cut in budget, so everybody's losing people next week.
It's
Yeah.
like the what they say in The Wire. You're like at the stage where you have enough authority that you have to listen to people, but not enough that you can tell people to fuck off.
That's that's actually pretty close. I mean, I know you'll all be shocked to hear that. Yes, I have told people 2 and 3 levels up for me to fuck off before. I know you're shocked to hear that, but these last couple of weeks dealing with some of these behind the scenes things, and like knowing that like I want to protect my people and I can't protect my people and I fucking hate it.
Just take in a sword and a shield and go full Viking. Shout out Empire. DK, how you doing, bro? It's nice to see you. You look great. You look like
in my spanking apparel from last year's Nats.
You look like you're living up to the potential of like your little icon.
Well, we're working on it. I have been enjoying the nice sunny days that we've had. I was telling guys before the show, we've had like a spate of like 5 days in a row where it's just been sunny and like 76 Fahrenheit. I forget what that is in Celsius, but it's nice.
Comfortable. It's comfortable.
It's like the perfect temperature. Whatever
like
the optimal temperature is.
Something like that. 23.
Something like
that.
So
it's somewhere in like the low to mid 20s. So like pretty much optimal weather.
Yeah.
For just getting out, riding my bike, trying to run a little bit. Got it. Without playing laser tag, I really hate running. Like, I can run during laser tag, but if I don't run in like regular ass life, like I won't have the fitness to run in laser tag.
Get amongst.
Why the fuck would he be running playing disc golf?
Oh, it's a thing. It's actually a thing.
Is that
people like they do like speed rounds as a way to like do cardio training. So you throw your disc, you run to where it landed, you throw it again, you run to where it landed. It's like I think they do the same thing with golf, but that sounds way harder because clubs, yeah, and also distance. Like you've got to run
or it could
way
just
further.
Be you throw it and I run out and try to catch it with my teeth like a dog. Really need to get those sprint intervals in.
That's right.
I can't try to be up to the top of green ramp in Loveland and have John Calkins have already beat me from the red side of the field. I'm like, how did this happen?
He can actually phase shift. He's a real piece of work, that guy.
It'd be less likely for Calkins to do it than Jarrett. Jarrett would be the one that I would think would already be there.
Yeah, but he did that to me at the last time I was in Loveland, so that's how I know that it could happen.
All you gotta do,
but yes, I'm sure Jarrett could do it too.
You just gotta bring a big fan with you and have it pointed down whichever ramp Jarrett's about to run up, and it'll just carry him off.
Jarrett could probably run up the same ramp as me off the start of the game, even though he's on the opposite side of the field, and still get the top of my ramp before I do.
Very nice to see you all in chat. Hope you guys are doing well. It's been a good week, man. We're feeling good. We're feeling healthy. We're just just life is good, man. I don't know if you guys.
The other reason for the hat, by the by, is also so I can. My hair is largely faded out, and I'm trying to hide my growing number of gray hairs that are popping in there. But, if I can show off some of the merch.
Yeah. Shill. And I'm about to do the same thing, but we'll get there. So this week, we did one show this week. I wanted to do a couple. I wanted to do something on Thursday, but I decided to go out and play some disc golf instead because Gray wasn't available. But one thing we've done over the last couple of weeks is we've had our good friend Frosthammer NZ, the lead guitarist for this band here, Empire. He's been joining me on stream when we do kind of our like arts and crafts session, which I need to come up with a good name for that stream because I don't know if you guys have seen it. It's it looks pretty cool. I'm pretty proud of how that particular stream looks. Frosty's obviously a big Warhammer minifig enthusiast, much like yourself, DK. So he does really cool stuff, and I just clown around for a couple hours, which is basically this show, just with different.
I was about to say, how is that any different from any other show that's on this channel?
Oh no, the old headphones.
That's every version of the resupply.
I wonder what they're gonna do tonight. Oh, I've seen this one.
Thunderdome is people play video games while Steve acts like a jackass in the background.
Steve is just a talented host. Get rid of talent. Steve-O is just a host. There we go. That is accurate. So it's been a really cool stream. It's a shame that the time zones don't really match up, because I reckon you guys would probably enjoy that. Probably you more so, DK. Just seeing the work, you know how it is. In fact, I would love to do a stream like that with you.
Like yes and no. Okay, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say I'd like to do, because the idea, I'm trying to get Frosty to commit, but he's too cool for me. So he's got me on a day by day rather than locking it down. Won't let me put a ring on it. But I want to get Mr. Doom back in for a few sessions. If you're keen to jump on and stay up until 4 a.m. we could do some painting.
Well, I got to prepare for Nat somehow, so.
Lucy's out there. I don't know if she's got a space where she could paint, but doing something. I don't know. Just it'd be a cool thing to kind of just chill out and paint and just hang and talk. It's almost like another podcast. Just we don't talk about anything overly interesting. All I hear when I say shit like that is Stan in my head. How's that any different?
Pretty much. Yeah. I haven't painted anything for a while, actually. It's kind of come and gone. But I do have a couple things left in my boxes of shame that I'm sure I could drag out and get primed and ready.
Painting a big old dildo. We probably should have. Probably should have kept that one in my mouth, so to speak.
I bet you would.
Oh, goodness me. I would love
down the rabbit hole we go.
All you got to do, right, is you take your gummy and then you come on and then we paint, and that would just be excellent entertainment for anyone watching.
Also, how is that different from any other show? High as shit.
I want to talk. We are gonna talk about some Laser Force stuff shortly, but I want to get this out of the way. Let me quickly switch over to here. This coming weekend, I'm making my way over to Melbourne. I've been joined by Lucy and Troy from Brisbane. We are going down to Melbourne for the first annual Laser Force Disc Golf Association competition, championships, however you want to sell it. We play for the Dick Gold Perpetual Trophy.
Good old Dick Gold.
And I'm very, very excited about it. But, you know me, I like to create a little bit of merch, because why not take all of my friends' money? I've put together this very simple yet elegant logo for the LFDGA, which I think it's kind of a cool nod to classic Laser Force.
Yeah, for sure. I dig it.
Yeah.
I remember the classic lightning bolt back in the day.
Oh yeah, and also the yellow and red color scheme as well. Yeah. So I went through a few iterations of what I kind of wanted the logo to look like, and that's kind of where I've ended up. I think it looks cool. But the reason I bring it up, because I'm putting together some clothing. If you want to get amongst the LFDGA, let me know. If you want a t-shirt or a jacket with an embroidered logo,
That
Or
LF Classic design definitely appeals to the age demographic of the people who are
Yeah.
Laser Force Disc Golf Association.
yeah, the ones who are now like, oh, I get to hang out with these cool people, but I don't have to run as much. Perfect. Yeah,
Lucy being the exception, of course.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, it's doing a bunch of clothing, and then I'm doing a few embroidered patches. I'll end up doing another run later on. I'm cranking out an initial run to start with for this tournament next week, and then maybe I'll put like a public message out, and if people want to get amongst, then feel free to. Only if it means you come to Nats, that's definitely off the cards for me, Tucker, unfortunately. All the travel for non-Nats has plagued me this year, so it is what it is. Right.
So what it sounds like is we need to play Powerball, win Powerball, and pay for you to come over.
I mean, that'll work.
Is that what I'm hearing?
Among other things, I mean, we're buying our own arena if we win Powerball. Let's just call it what it is.
Yeah, let me know if you need merch for that arena, because I've got you covered.
We'll put it in like in Maui or something, so every summer we can have like a badass vacation too, and then we'll just like reconfigure the arena every year.
Oh my god, that'd be fucking awesome. Traj, hello. Sorry you've been away for a while. What's LFDGA? Laser Force doggone assholes. Not far off, man. Not far off.
It works.
We play disc golf now. Haven't you heard? Disc golf's the new Laser Force.
And you can definitely get in on it.
Oh, in fact, you should get in on it. I reckon you'd enjoy it, and so will your knees. But yeah,
his shoulders might not though.
Oh, that's a good call. Yeah. Oh well, just hang out on the couch. You'll be right.
There has to be some body part on Trad that still works.
This part and this one. Let me switch back here. Yeah, so I'm very much looking forward to catching up with the Melbourne contingent of our Laser Force Space Marine scene, and also a couple from the Brisbane crew coming down to hang out as well. And the last thing I want to talk about before we get into the real crux of the show, the bad one is your left and your righty. Oh, dude, get him up.
Well, then he's in.
Yeah.
You're fine then. Fine.
Hey, what are you doing next weekend? You want to come to Melbourne? The last thing I want to talk about is, and I've harped on about it the last few shows, but we've had a group of new players come in and play lasers with us. And I just want to give them a very quick shout out. Not that they watch the show, but
do they know about the show?
Oh, do they know about the show?
hey, I'm just making sure, bro. I'm just making sure.
The minute
he's shilling.
Yeah. The minute they walked on, I was like, "You want to buy a hat?" Now they've been playing, and holy shit, they are so open to coaching. They're so open to learning. They ask so many questions, and like good questions too. What I'm trying to be doing is at least a couple of games during the evening, is shadow some of the newer players as much as I can, and just sort of plodding along. But yeah, just shadowing them and giving them some guidance on like sort of how far to kind of make tracks, or like one of the guys who was thrust into heavy, because we've started this thing where we will either we've stopped using the randomizer altogether, and we've started breaking the teams, and we are pairing up the vets. If the veteran players are playing 3 hits, the newer players are playing the resupply, and vice versa, so that the idea is that hopefully if you've got a newer commander going up against a newer heavy, or more importantly, you don't have a newer heavy trying to keep out one of the veteran commanders. So it's working out really, really well. The games have been really balanced, really fun, really intense, just really good. So it gives me a renewed sense of hope for competitive Laser Force, at least in our backyard, but also
nice.
across the board. So
we love to hear that.
Oh man, it's exciting. It's very exciting.
And if you have the time and ability to do that, I still think that the judgment of a seasoned player in splitting people up is usually going to be better than the randomizer.
Yeah.
I still like the randomizer, don't get me wrong, because I think it does sometimes produce matchups you wouldn't otherwise get that are interesting to see.
Yep.
But it does also feed you a fair amount of, what the fuck are you smoking if you think this is a fair matchup?
Well, we'll likely go back to it once they're in a groove they've been playing for maybe, probably 6 months, maybe a year.
Yeah.
Who knows? I don't know. There's a couple of them that are progressing very, very quickly. Like I had one of the guys, Sean, he played a Commander game and he...
that Essence or whatever, or however the name is pronounced.
Yeah. Oh, that makes way more sense. Every time we see it, we're like Ensk, but it's not Ensk because it's ESNC. But he just absolutely dominated us as commander in one of the games. I think he got like
just looking at
close
that
to
card.
12, something like that. 11,
Yeah,
12?
I think it was like 11-9, I think, and he had like 9 medikits or something crazy. So
dominated, and I think I was the
game.
medic in that game, and he
You got your salad tossed, bro.
Oh yeah, and honestly, I was cheering for him the whole game. I was just like so stoked that he was being that aggressive. And actually, Lily Mac, who was playing Scout that game, the tandem between the two, she's normally a very tentative player, but she was just killing it that game as well. And like, as much as I was like, fuck, we're getting smashed, I was so stoked that they were doing the smashing. Like, it was awesome.
That's good.
Yeah, man. It's positive.
It's always a nice feeling when you've got newer players and you see that moment when it just clicks and suddenly they go from new player scenario, because that's a thing, everybody's gonna be in, and then they take like that first large step up and they go from being newbie garbage to average, which is, I mean, it's a step.
Yeah, you're like, I can't just shoot you 3 times in the back anymore like I used to.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's really, really good. Lucy, you wish they'd do this here with you as well, because only a couple of weeks ago people actually started explaining things, giving useful advice to you. Yep. Part of that also unfortunately falls on you as a player to kind of seek that help. So obviously you don't know what you don't know, but if you notice something in a game, or you see something happen, and just make a mental note of it and ask a veteran after the game, because usually if you ask a veteran about like scenarios in Laser Force, they'll talk your ear off, usually, depending on the player.
I mean, the whole reason we have a fucking show is because we like talking people's ear off about this shit.
You started doing that.
Yeah. Seems many experienced people seem to have the attitude that everyone knows what they're supposed to be doing. Yeah, I think that maybe comes with extended period of time of having extremely high caliber of players. And what I've noticed and
falling into a routine, if you have the same people coming like every week and you don't get a lot of infusions of new people, it's easy to forget and make that assumption that it's just like, oh, we all know how to play the game, right?
Yeah.
But
and having this influx of new players come in has kind of not reaffirmed, but like shaken things up. It's made us remember that as an experienced player, our role here is to also like train them up to get them to where we are not as quickly as possible, but like, and do it in a way that like builds community. Like, I think that like we've had, so Lily Mac it originates, I think, from Thailand, and she's been bringing like plates of like Thai food in just to share, like, dude, and she made this like dessert roti bread. It was fucking awesome. I'm supposed to be like watching my figure. Makes it very, very
in
difficult.
training.
Yeah. But like, and obviously like that's not a thing that we are now like, hey, where's our food?
Right.
But like very appreciated. And it's really like that stuff helps to build like friendships essentially. Like, you hang out, you see these people once a week usually. You might as well like each other. Might as well, like, I don't think I've seen. I think the best example of it is maybe the veterans from Melbourne. That core group of guys, Al, Hoodie, Ducky, Fish. Like those guys had friendships and stuff outside of Laser Force, and it's kind of the best like example of that sort of thing that I've seen. Hey, Ducky, 45
Speaking
months.
of the devil.
Slides. Thank you, brother. Oh, I'm so excited to see you. But yeah. So it's been really cool. And maybe I'm a broken record, but fuck it. I've got a microphone. It's
Do you
awesome.
have 2 turntables also?
You tell me.
That was a suicide question.
Thank you, Dump Shop.
Question. Never ask a question you don't
Steven
know
went
the
to the
answer
dump shop?
to.
Steven
And
did indeed go to the dump shop.
I did not know the answer to that. I was just trying to make a stupid joke, and this motherfucker actually fucking has turntables.
Well, you think he doesn't have just whatever random object you name in his pile of shit around his desk?
Fuck me.
What do you got? 17 Wii's? Hang on.
Whoa, do I? Well, and the other thing with like training up newer players, I think that's also where leagues are really important if you have the numbers for them. And I think I've said it before, why I think it contributed to the historic success of Brisbane for a long time was leagues were really testing people and raising the caliber of play. And the few times that we did it in Sacramento, I mean, we used to do it all the time back in the day, and that was also really valuable for bringing people in. But the couple of times that we did it when we had Laser Tag Carmichael open, like that was really good for elevating people's play as well. Because you also end up with a situation where if there's newer players that are there on a given night, like I might remember to go out of my way to try to teach them some stuff. But if I'm in my own head about something else, or I'm busy breaking games and I just don't get around to that, like unless they ask me, I might not talk to them as much as I could.
Yeah.
But when you're on a league team with people, like that competitive instinct kicks in. I'm like, I can't afford for you to be bad, so I'm gonna tell you how you need to play now.
Yeah, and so that's the thing that I'm like, that me personally I'm trying to be mindful of, and trying to get the other veterans at Auckland to be mindful of is making sure that like we try and bring through this new batch of players, and then hopefully they can do the same for anyone else that they might run into on like the weekend, or even newer players that come on a Tuesday. Something might have a question and be like, oh, okay, well, I've just recently been struggling with this, and this is how I've dealt with it, or whatever it is, But not everyone is built for that. Not every player is built to coach, and maybe don't have the confidence to do it, or the people skills, or whatever it is. And that's okay too.
There's a variety of reasons why certain people either shouldn't be coaching or wouldn't coach.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's fine. The overarching takeaway is if you have enough of your experienced players that can and will do it, and can do it in a way that doesn't antagonize people, because that's also a thing. Like trying to coach without talking down to somebody is definitely a skill. But no, bro, like you say like, oh, I'm being a broken record talking about this shit every week. No, this is fucking awesome. Like knowing that the Auckland scene is in this refresh mode with people that are actually excited to play. Let's put it this way. It's actually potentially inspiring me to like even just go to my local and even just play some standard games on a Saturday night, just to do do a thing.
Right.
And I never thought I would actually say that. Like I am legitimately thinking, oh, maybe I'll go to I'll go and play like 3 standard games.
We got to get you in Nats form, bro. I want you smashing those birthday parties every weekend.
Yeah.
Seen that weird dude that hangs out at Tag? Yeah, we had my 8-year-old's birthday party down there.
Like, it was cringe enough dropping like 40K scores on people when we were like 18 and 19. When we're in our 40s, it's just not a good look.
Knock a kid down, stand over him. Now, well, that's good. That's good. I mean, I like if I have, sort of thoughts on the matter, I'll probably continue to bring them up. But that's good. If anything, if it inspires, right on, Evo. If it does inspire like people to kind of be keen to get out and get amongst like the public games, then cool. We were pretty lucky to have like a group of people just dumped in our lap, but
yes,
we're gonna take that luck and make something out of it. So
yeah, I mean, just because you were lucky enough to have this group of 10 or 12 people or whatever decide, we're going to do this as a group, like that still would have been super easy to fuck up.
Yeah, to go in there and be dicks and not talk and
to get like 12 people at once who want to play Space Marines. It's like discovering plutonium on accident.
Dude, and they're like frothing for it as well. Like, I have to kind of temper shit. Be like, maybe let's play a huntsman. We'll do a huntsman this round. Just to make sure that people don't forget that the other games are just as important to develop a passion.
Skill building.
That too, yeah. Huntsman was dope, actually. It's a good game.
I only think I played it
once
when I don't remember if it was in Auckland or Loveland that I did it, but yeah, maybe it was an interesting game.
It's cool, and like once you get the nuance of it, it becomes even better. But love it.
Makes me jealous. Wish I lived in Auckland right now.
Yeah, me too, bro. Me too. So the goal is just low key trying to prep a couple of teams to go to Nats next year. So that's the long term goal without like pushing that, like I don't want to.
I mean, if some of them decided that they needed a U.S. vacation in August,
look, I'll float it. I reckon there's a couple of them that would like love that shit. Absolutely love it. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Keep doing you, Auckland scene. You're doing great. Yeah. Right. Let's pivot. Let's pivot to Nats. Speaking of Loveland.
It's nice
almost
segue.
Oh no, I saw it. It's
almost like I did that deliberately.
I saw it.
Almost.
So yeah. Laser Force Internationals 2024 is being hosted in Loveland, Colorado this year. If you've never been to Loveland, Colorado, you should go because it's rad. I thoroughly enjoyed my last trip there. Obviously, this would be summer, so different vibe, greener. It was very, earthy when I was there. I'd imagine it gets lush in summer.
Ish. Lush
with hints of brown because it can get pretty warm and sunny at times as well. But
yeah, right.
Having gone to like Rocky Mountain National Park in July, it is pretty stunning. I mean, it's stunning in October when I went as well, but it was quite nice in the summer. So yeah, cool place. Yeah, like much of the middle section of the United States, weather maybe a little bit unpredictable, but
a flop bit unpredictable.
Do they get tornadoes in Colorado?
It's possible, but that's a little bit more of a thing more to the east.
Oh yeah, through like Chicago-ish or like not quite that far.
Yeah,
east.
that area.
Yeah.
So Illinois, Iowa, Kansas, Oklahoma,
the heartland.
Tornadoes scared the shit out of me. I never really had to deal with one while I was living in DFW.
Yeah.
But like I think, but it's one of those things like it's all what you it's all the natural disaster that you grow up with. Like earthquakes don't phase me in the slightest. I grew up with earthquakes.
Yeah.
No big deal. Tornadoes? No, fuck that shit. I'm out.
Hot pass.
Yeah. How do you experience a tornado and be like, you know what, that's probably not going to happen again. This is a good place to live. Why not? Let's build a trailer park right here.
And seemingly, like, you know, earthquakes, the scale, you know, between like little earthquake and big earthquake, it seems like a large scale. Tornado, even small scale tornado seems fucked. It's pretty bad.
I mean, it's not ideal.
Yeah.
But it's probably not going to do much more than knock your barbecue over if it's just a little one.
No. We historically don't really get tornadoes here in New Zealand, but we did in the last, I can't remember when it was, 10 years, I want to say. Maybe 15. Who cares?
I remember seeing a news story about that. It was like rare New Zealand tornado.
Yeah, it like was in Auckland and ripped through the North Shore. And then we had a couple of, you know, are they still tornadoes over water or are they water spouts? Either way, I saw.
I mean, it's
one
the
of
same
those.
thing. It's just different names for the same thing.
It looked really cool. I could see it like out in the harbor, but also terrifying. Don't come over here. Laser Force. So we you guys are both going to Nats this year. Fuck yeah.
August 5th to 9th in Loveland. It's gonna be great.
I don't want to.
Not only are we both going, we're going to be on the same team. It's a
For the first
resupply
time
reunion.
in ages. When was the last time we were on the same team?
That's so
It's
good.
15? No, 16. 16 West Coast.
At that West Coast in San Marcos. Was that really the last time? My God.
When's the last Nats tournament you guys played together?
Well, because I know the
15.
That would have been 15. It would have been the last Loveland Nats.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Oh, how did you do that?
That was in 15. Because I was just saying that I don't think we've, other than when I came to visit you, we went to Wonderland. I think the last time we'd played together at all was in 2018 in Brisbane.
Yeah.
That sounds right.
Well, are you in, you know, spoilers or whatever, but are you guys playing in the resupply together, or that's TBD?
It's somewhat TBD, but probably not. I'm probably going to be somewhere out in the field during the tournament. Decent chance I'll probably be playing Scout, but stuff is still tentative. We need to see how a few pieces fit together, because I've played on a Nats team with everybody on my team except for Nolan. But Nolan has a lot of experience with some of the other people there. So it's just a question of like how the pieces are going to best fit together. So we have like kind of a couple thoughts about what we think the lineup should be.
Yeah.
But sometimes you get there and you're like, oh, actually, we need to switch and do this other thing instead.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
If you guys end up playing even a practice game in the resupply together, could you record it? I would love to. I would very much love to
hear us bickering.
Oh yeah, and just to take the extra step, could you do a podcast whilst you're playing in the resupply? Because
maybe if we're not playing Loveland Day or Cedar City.
And look, it doesn't have to be like, you know, during the tournament. It could be during a practice game or like, well, whatever. But I would love it. It would be amazing to do. We could have had that opportunity. I think when did we? When was that?
Like 2 years ago.
We were all together at the West Coast in Loveland.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Sorry. I meant other than the time we were together 2 years ago. The last time I played with Dan prior to that was in Brisbane. So yeah.
But yeah, that would be really awesome. But we're gonna do a thing that you should never do, but we're gonna do it anyway. We're gonna make some wacky predictions.
Yeah, way too early Nats predictions based on current projected rosters, because
before we even get to that, though, we should mention that hours for the tournament have also been released. We don't know exactly how long the days are going to be. That depends on how many teams we have, but it was confirmed that we are starting play at 4 p.m. So it is going to be an afternoon, evening, night tournament, not like a morning, early afternoon tournament. which will be a switch from how we've done things for the last couple of years, especially. Like I know, like we'll get it out of the way now. I was not super stoked when I heard that this was the set of hours available to us. I have come to really much prefer starting relatively early in the morning, maybe finishing by early evening, and having time to go out to dinner and have some fun with people, and then get to bed at a reasonable old man hour. So it will definitely be a schedule adjustment for me to be playing until at least midnight, but possibly like later, maybe as late as 2 a.m. some days, because we may need to also finish on Thursday because the prospect of playing Friday night is going to be pretty limited. And I don't know that we're going to want to try to jam that together, especially if we're only down to like the final 3 teams by then. Who's going to want to come back on a Friday night to ref that? Like, nobody will want to be there. So we'll, and I mean, I've been talking a little bit about it with Tucker, who's in chat. But I think it'll work fine. It'll be an adjustment. And the bottom line is, even though I've complained and talked to other people about it, if the options are we play this set of hours or we don't play Nats at all, I'm pretty sure I'll go with the weird hours.
Yeah.
Like I would rather play laser tag than not play. And for some people, this might be a good adjustment.
Yeah.
Like, dang, you're like, I'm much more of a night owl, so
Yeah, no, this is the
maybe you'll play Scout and I'll play Resupply, so I can just go take a nap.
Yeah, starting at 4 in the afternoon for me is way more ideal than starting at 8 o'clock in the morning. Because the only reason that I am a morning person for work is because they pay me. Like, that's it. That is literally the only reason that my alarm goes off at the time that it does is because I'm getting paid. If I don't have to deal with that, that's fine.
Yeah.
And knowing that the reason for the 4 o'clock time is leaving the mornings so that LLT is able to run their summer camp stuff.
They have a lot of business in the summer. That's the reality of it. And
it is very much a oh, you mean we have to start later than we would necessarily prefer to so that the site can still make a whole fuck ton of money? Please make a whole fuck ton of money. That's
the health of the site's the most important thing.
Yeah,
so,
right.
Like I said, if the options are we play weird hours because the business needs to operate as a business, or we're not able to play, we'll play weird hours. I'll have an extra coffee in the afternoon and I'll figure it out.
I'll circle back because I've just remembered something about the commentary stuff. So remind me if I definitely forget. But the only kind of night tournament or night nats that I think I've played was Sacramento, where we played midday to midnight.
Basically these hours.
We played 12 to 12,
12
which
to 12.
was not what I wanted it for. Like, I was really pushing for maybe an 8 to 8 schedule, but I think in my discussions with people, a number of captains felt that 8 was too early, so we were going to do 9 to 9.
Yeah.
But I think for a slightly less legitimate business reason, we got pushed back to 12 because there was thinking that maybe they could get some business in the morning, but it's not like they had summer camp groups that were coming in. So I'm still a little disappointed that we had to play that tournament the hours that we did, because I agree that it did cut down on the social aspect quite a bit.
It kills
what I think it could have been.
And I think and we're gonna circle back to what Tucker just put in chat, but didn't they die with Craig's cult? They weren't there that year. I don't know what you
Not
mean.
in 17, no.
What I was gonna say was it killed all the social aspect. It killed what you'll find is that if you play until like early in the morning, so I would imagine that some people aren't going to get to bed until probably 3:30 a.m., 4 a.m., and
5 a.m., 6 a.m.
It's brutal. It's so brutal. Mm-hmm. It fucks up your body clock. So
it's going to be a complete shift for most people, I think.
It's pretty rough. We by the time you wind down, shower, you actually travel back to your accommodation, and I highly recommend, if you can get a place close to site, obviously do that. That should be probably your priority with hours like this at a tournament is find somewhere that is less than a 10-minute drive from site. Because driving home at 3:30 a.m. or 3 a.m. to then queue up to have showers and then like, you know, you wind down, all that shit, it's brutal. So it's gonna be a shift. I personally I wouldn't be excited about it, but like you said, I'd be, you know, if it's that or nothing, you choose that every time.
Yeah.
So rough.
And the reality is, it's not like we had a bunch of other sites banging down the door to want to host this year. Loveland is kind of the only real location to do it. So
yeah.
It'll be different. It'll be an adjustment. It'll probably be better for some players, maybe not as good for others. But that also does open up the possibility that it's like it will just shift the socializing to maybe people getting lunch every day before going down to tag, which is
it's something.
It's just different. Like, it's like you want to do the hangout at the end of the day. I don't know why. It's just kind of like, hey, we all did this thing together. Now we
it's the wind down.
It's the wind down.
It's the wind down. Talk about it.
Yeah, because exactly.
It could be good the other way too, where, you know, folks get a meal, we go down, hang out at Lasers, get the day started.
Yeah.
Have a dinner break and then just play till late.
Yeah. Now the reason for that, Tucker has the permission to reveal during the daytime Jeff is bringing back the Space Marines youth camp. I'd be very keen to have a discussion with somebody local about what that is. Do you guys know what that is?
I mean, based on the description of it, I would assume that it is a camp that teaches Space Marines to young people.
Yep. I basically like waddled into that one.
You definitely did.
Actually, I'm gonna make that joke. So no, that was.
You managed
real.
to keep the dildo out of his mouth this time.
Oh, that was a real offensive one. Maybe we have a conversation with Jeff at some point on the podcast if he wants to come on here. Like, he's like, why would I go on that show? Hard pass.
Well, we excoriate him for making us play late at night. We're too old.
Oh, I heard you guys bitching about the hours, you fucks. No, I wouldn't blame him. But like, we had Jeff on at one point, right? Real early on. Do we have a conversation with Jeff? I want to say yes.
I can't remember if we had him. I feel like that's very possible. Like, it seems kind of like that we had him on for an episode.
It was before it was before Twitch. I'm pretty sure we did a audio only one.
And it might have just been you and me. That might have been like when Than was on hiatus from the podcast. You and I had a convo with him. That does sound familiar, but I can't 100%.
I'm gonna check the YouTube out.
So.
Probably back in Sugarland. Wasn't that we did?
Wouldn't have been that far back.
No.
Wouldn't have been that far back.
So it's something Jeff used to do where employees draft teams, and it's like a kids camp, usually 8 to 13 or so, to play for like a week. Cool idea, real cool. Maybe we're gonna have to have a yarn with them and kind of delve deep into that subject because that sounds dope.
Well, it's also good that it would require whoever is on staff those days to have a working knowledge of Space Marines. And if staff has a working knowledge of Space Marines, they can tell other people about Space Marines. And that is also how we grow the scene.
They're like, there's this game, Space Marines, and the best part about it is that just play laser ball. And that's how that conversation goes. Right. Shall we talk about, should we do some like predictions? I mean, we've almost done a whole show on getting to the point.
Again, how is this much different than what we normally do?
Yeah,
we just need to get the actual information out there first. It doesn't make
true.
sense to speculate about a tournament in which people have no details.
That's true.
That's true. Yeah, that's fair.
But
yes, we should delve into the rosters that we currently have, and we should make wildly inaccurate predictions about where we think these teams are going to end up.
Handy.
Yeah, and a lot of this will be tentative because it's a few rosters I know are still under construction, like mostly the St. George and Detroit teams. So far as I know, do not have finalized rosters, and they may only be partially constructed. So.
Are they included? So we've got 8 teams sort of
We have 8 that are being proposed right now, according to the list that Tucker sent me. We have Loveland A and B. We have California A and B. There's a Cedar City and a St. George team, and then Detroit and Syracuse are the 8 that we have. There is talk of some participation from overseas. I think Morgan's coming over for sure.
Awesome.
But we don't know about some of the other Brits. I don't know if Marcus is confirmed right now. So we want to get some people over from Europe, but it sounds like we're really not going to get anybody from Australasia, which is unfortunate, but I get it. I get it.
Yeah, it is a shame.
It just didn't really work out this year for one reason or another.
Yeah.
Up to and including people being in a family way.
I think with that, there's, well, for Auckland, obviously we basically shut down after Nats last year. We didn't play really at all for 6 months, and because of that, we if we had this influx of people coming right after Nats and we just carried through, number one, we probably would have been terrible because everyone was grumpy and shit. But number two, if everything had gone to plan and we have the people now, but back then, things might have been different. We might have 6 more months of getting these newer players up to speed. So it's a shame. You'd like to, but school's mandatory for you. Oh yeah. I mean, yeah. We know that.
Nobody is giving you any shit whatsoever for not attending because
not only did you attend at Auckland, you shifted your entire life over to the Southern Hemisphere.
Yeah.
It's understandable.
I understand that maybe putting a damper on some travel plans for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, none of us want there to be any chance of you fucking up your visas.
Getting deported.
And getting deported. That sounds like a terrible plan.
Yeah.
So everybody is fully on board with you not being able to come this year. Even if we're not happy about it, we would love to see you, but nobody wants you to fuck your visa.
Yeah,
for sure.
You're not like one of those losers who just can't commit, like Tham last year or Steve this year. So,
oh no, I've committed to not coming. I'm very much committed to not coming. But just on that number of teams, if worst case scenario, it's only 6, which isn't the end of the world. We only had 6 come out to Auckland. The amount of games
6 would make the timetable a lot more.
100%. It becomes less of a thing. You could play slightly less into the evening. You could
even
still
8 isn't terrible.
Yeah,
8 is not.
It's not too bad.
Yeah,
if we get to 9 or 10, it's gonna be kind of brutal.
Yeah.
The reality is we're not gonna be able to get nearly as many games, but 8 is doable, even if we only have 4 days to work with. At this point, I'm like, whether we play till midnight, 2 a.m. or 3 a.m., that's late enough that I'm like, it doesn't make that much of a difference.
Yeah, nah.
Playing till 2 is pretty much the same as playing till 12.
Yeah. If it's after 11, I'm already awake.
What's one more block of matches? Who cares?
But yeah, it'll mean that you've got obviously some leeway or some flexibility there, which is awesome. It takes the pressure off.
I agree with Joe though. We're gonna have 8.
Yeah, I think so.
We're gonna have 8.
Yeah.
They just said that, Tucker.
Okay. So are we gonna our prediction? Our prediction is Syracuse is the winner, and everyone else comes last.
Correct. Yeah,
perfect.
For sure.
All right, that's I've been guy next door.
I mean, like I said, just by default, because we don't know their full rosters yet. From Detroit, the only people I know of who are either confirmed or interested are Rhea, Disco Stew, and Ivy, I think, which all good experienced players. But if I don't know who the other 3 are, I can't really speculate that much about the team. And similarly with St. George, I know they have some combination. I don't know who Cedar took as their 6th, whether that was Sadie or somebody else, but that would leave people like Sadie, Chaser, Metalface, Rockwood, maybe Kingsley. I don't know exactly who else from the St. George scene is likely to be in there. But that's who I imagine the pool of players for that team would be. So at this point, I would just have to say that those 2 are likely to be the bottom 2 teams just because they're incomplete rosters. Maybe they'll come up with some other players and that will change my opinion of them as we get closer to the tournament. But for right now, I just have to slot them at 7-8 because I don't know enough otherwise.
Just real quick to caveat these predictions. As always, most of the predictions we make are not because the team is bad, but rather that, there are good teams and there are great teams.
Even if every team is God tier, somebody would still have to finish last.
Exactly.
Like, that's just the reality of it.
Yeah. With that being said,
like all
Detroit
the teams in Auckland were good teams.
I'm kidding. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I would say that's probably a good call. Yeah, there's something to be said about like cohesion and stuff as well. So if you've got a hybrid team, even with like good talent, because obviously Rhea, Stu, and Ivy have all been playing this game for a long time, all know how the sausage is made. It's still, without cohesion on a team, it's really, really hard to do great things at a Space Marines tournament. It's part of the reason why like the East Coast and West Coast tournaments are so good. Partially. Who got up next?
Let's just read read off a roster and let's make a call.
Okay, so I guess next we'll talk about the Syracuse roster.
Yeah.
Since they sent it in. Right now, as I understand it, it's 7 players. So it would be Beans, Cody, Evil, Lenny, I think is coming.
Ish.
Sanch, Fox, and Doom Six, who's Beans is like cousin or nephew, something like that. As
there's some family relation there. Okay.
Yeah.
His brother cousin.
According to Beans, hasn't played like either since the last level of Nats or since slightly after the last level of Nats, but it's been a while.
Yeah.
But certainly, like a lot of players who have an established history of playing the game for a long time. This might be the only team whose average age could be higher than ours. Because like, sure, we're like older than most of the people, but it's like we at least have some younger people to come in there. I think Doom Six is probably the youngest person. Oh no, I guess Cody's the youngest person on the Syracuse team. Cody's still in his
Dude, that's
20s,
really
so
funny.
That brings down.
It sounds like a 10.
But yeah, like, I mean, Sanch is my age. Fox is, I think, a couple of years older. I don't remember exactly how old Fox is, but I want to say he's like maybe in between our ages, Dan.
Yeah. So I mean, Syracuse, is that a roster that if you looked at it 5 years ago, you'd be like, damn, that's a real fucking strong team. Yes. Mm-hmm. My questions around, how they'll perform will be, I mean, one, just age. We all get older. We all get a little slower. We all, there's that. It's certainly a team that will play well together because of how long they've been playing together. That's I don't think there's any argument there. What'll be interesting will be how well they do actually play. And Syracuse historically has not played well in multi-story arenas because their home arena is a single floor. Now it's a lovely floor without gorgeous carpet that you can get done with a tournament, and your ankles and knees and hips are like, oh, that was like running on air for a week. Fantastic. But it does always then present a little bit of a weirdness anytime they're in another arena, because every other arena does have some verticality to it, which they're not used to. Again, they're all good players. They can all adapt, but having to get it into your head of, oh wait, I do actually need to look up instead of only having to keep your attention on one plane.
It's hard.
It does make a difference.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
and it's not like they've never done well in multi-floor arenas, because like in 2017, granted it was a hybrid team, but you still had like Sanch, Beans, maybe another Syracuse person on that team that ended up coming third on that hybrid team with St. George. And then I think in the last Loveland Nats in 2015, I think they leaped over us to get into third in the semifinals.
Sounds right.
Because for some stupid reason, Venom and I switched playing 3 hits and we fucked up the second game. I remember exactly what the details were, but obviously that was overshadowed by some of the other bizarreness that happened at that Nats.
Bizarreness.
So
that's
they did
bizarreness.
do
That's
well.
what we're calling it.
And I know Beans and Lenny were both on that team. I don't remember if anyone else from this roster was. Maybe Sanch was there, because Sanch used to go to most of the tournaments back in the day.
Yeah. So do I think that they're going to put up games and do some numbers and have some surprising results? Yes. Do I necessarily think they're going to break into the top 3? I don't think so, based on the other rosters that are out there. I think Syracuse for this tournament with that roster is a solid 4, 5, 6 in that range. And again,
I think it's possible they could get into third's probably about the ceiling on them, but like if they play well, especially in finals, I could see them getting to third. But yeah, probably somewhere in that 4 or 5 range.
They're not really playing on the regular at the moment, correct? Like Evil, I don't know.
Not according to Beans, but I never know whether to trust Beans with 100% accuracy or not. If he says we're never playing, I don't know if that actually means that they're not playing. But my understanding is that some of the people haven't really played since the last tournament at Syracuse in 2021, and
it's a shame.
I mean, Cody doesn't live in Syracuse right now, so I don't think he's played since.
Cody, you're in like
Nats.
down south, right? Cody's
he's in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
So
Evil says not really.
Yeah. So Evil, like, if I don't know if it's doable, maybe, if it's doable without like a couple of key players, like I think if Syracuse can get some sort of regular practice in between now and then, that will go a long way to push them into a top 3. But
yeah, if I heard that they were playing every week in their run to the tournament, I would definitely be much more concerned about them.
Because Lenny's been out of the game for a while, right?
Yeah, but he's always good whenever he comes back. So that guy, he's just he's a laser tag machine.
Yeah, savant.
But yeah, they have enough experience that that's a team that needs to be respected, regardless of what happens. But yeah, I definitely would be far more likely to say that that's a real threatening team if they were playing on a regular basis.
Yeah,
because stuff can shift pretty quickly, and it has, I think, kind of since that 2021 2022 range, where there are a lot of players who maybe weren't as highly ranked before who are now as good or better than the top tier players were at that period of time.
Fair.
Yeah.
All right. So Syracuse, we're picking somewhere in that 4, 5, 6 range. Cool. Next.
Yeah. Probably the other 2 teams that I think might fit into that kind of area would be the California team that is mostly Sacramento players. So it really should be called like the NorCal team, but they're going as the LA Phaser Department this year, the LAPD. So that would be Autumn, Aiden, Odin's Fist. Sorry, I'll try to use code names. Snowflake from Southern California, Disco, Minette, and then they're picking up Poopies, Anthony from Loveland as their 6th. So I think they're probably kind of in that range, and Loveland B is maybe also kind of in that range, which I'm trying to remember all of their players. It's Strikfa, White Ninja, Jidoku, Azra, what's Eli's code name? It's like the Rook or something like that, and then the Rat. They got the Rook and the Rat. There you go.
Yeah,
which was definitely a good team, and they have gotten really solid, and certainly Strikfa and White Ninja in particular are very good, talented players. The reason I would kind of put them in this grouping as well is just it's a question of experience.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be most of their first Nats, but it's still their home site. So much like the Syracuse team, their team that I think needs to be taken seriously. But it's a question of, are they going to take the next step, or is sort of their experience maybe not going to be quite enough to break into the top echelon of teams? But they're also a team that I could see finishing 3rd if things break right for them. But I would still probably kind of keep them in like that 4, 5, 6 range.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've also been very encouraged watching their progress and being able to play both with them as a sub and against them. Yeah, I would be really what it's going to boil down to for them is if they get into the tournament itself and how they respond to when things go wrong.
Yeah,
because
that's where the experience kicks in.
Yeah, it's different from when things go wrong on a members night. Okay, whatever. I mean, it sucks, but versus things go wrong during the pressure cooker of a tournament. And I think we've all seen both sides of this coin. We've seen teams that have hit the pressure cooker and just absolutely fucking melted down, and promising teams that's like, oh well, that's just not gonna do anything this week now because something went wrong and they couldn't stop being at each other long enough to figure out what the fix was. And then we've seen you get into the pressure cooker and it's like it becomes a diamond instead. So that very much is the X factor for that team, is if they get into the tournament itself and they are able to deal with whatever adversity comes their way, I could see them being a top 3 team because there is talent on that team and it is their arena, and god damn, those kids are fast. But I could also see them dropping down into 6, 7, 8 by just imploding.
Well, I think of it as somewhat akin to the Sacramento B team that we had in 2017, where I had a lot of high hopes for them. I thought that many of them had made great strides in their game, and I was hoping to actually see them finish in 3rd. They ended up finishing in 5th, and I think the reason that they did was for that exact reason, because there was an experience gap. When things got rough, there was a little bit of an implosion, and they just weren't able to recover against teams that were at least as talented, probably more talented when the chips are down, but had more experience. And even though it wasn't their home arena, they had that kind of seasoning to carry them through to the later rounds. Most notably, like your guys' team, and then the Syracuse St. George team.
Yeah. So again, I know I've said this before. Am I excited to see them at Nats? Fuck yes. Like there is so much potential on that team, and those players have already come leaps and bounds just in the last few months. Like any team that overlooks them is fucking stupid. Like, I mean, just you can. This is not a team that you can look past. You need to be respectful of the fact that they can ruin your day. 100%, they can ruin your day.
Yeah, if you aren't paying attention and Bradley just walks into your resupply and destroys your entire team like it's nothing, then yeah, you're gonna have a bad time.
Yeah, hopefully they can kind of they go the route of like the confidence of playing in their home arena outweighs the like any kind of negative or like hesitation or whatever for the moment being too big. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then going from them to the other California team, solid somewhere in that 4 to 6 range. It's a decent team. I mean, there is experience up and down that team as far as like, they've done tournaments for, I think all of them have done some type of tournament at this point.
Oh, yeah.
Some of them have more caps than
Their
others.
least experienced player is their Loveland player who has knowledge of the arena. So
Right. So, but I think when you do the matchups just on a person by person basis, I don't think the overall talent level on that team matches some of the other teams. Now
they have some good firepower up front, but yeah, when you start getting into the 4, 5, 6 range, they're not necessarily going to have the same personnel options that some of the top teams are going to have.
Maybe we have a better idea of their like cap or their like their ability as players is versus a Loveland B, which we largely
is still kind of an unknown commodity.
Yeah. With this LAPD team, we have a good idea of where their skill cap is.
But I saw them play against the Loveland B team when I was there last month, and they were definitely very back and forth games. So I do tend to think of those teams as being kind of in the same tier because it seems like they were matching each other pretty well.
That's awesome.
And that may change in one direction or another by the time we actually get to the tournament. At least in some of the preliminary stuff I saw, just my observations suggest to me that they're somewhere grouped together.
Cool.
Syracuse, I think, has the experience to be ranked above both of those teams, but like we said, those are just all the other unknowns. A lot of them have not played a lot recently. How much age is going to be a factor? How much being out of practice? How much not knowing the field as well is going to affect them? Because so they might be in that group, but Syracuse might also be in sort of the next group above. It's hard for me to say right now because. Speaking of the next group above, I would probably put our team in that group, Dan, where I think here's where I'm going to come off like a dick. And that I think that we have the personnel.
Is that why you dress like me? No.
We should
yes.
That we should be favored over those three teams that we just mentioned. But I don't think we're favored over the top two teams that we're going to be talking about. Now it's possible that my perception could be off and we might be more in that group with those other teams because like I said, they have good and experienced players, but we have two people who were on the championship team from last year, myself and Kodama. Dylan played incredibly well in Loveland the last time he was there. That's the biggest question mark because he also, I don't think, has played since that tournament, which was 2 years ago at this point. So that's the kind of the question mark, and then it's just a question of how much synergy we have on the back line. But with Nolan and Applesauce also finishing very high in several of the recent tournaments, we know that some of the core group of this has just done well at a lot of tournaments and has overperformed at some of the tournaments. Like at that Syracuse tournament 2021, we were probably expected to come third or fourth. We ended up finishing second. The California team that came to that West Coast in 2022, I think they were probably slotted to finish about fourth. They ended up elevating to second. So I think that we have a lot of the personnel, and we have Van, who brings the experience and a lot of synergy with me to kind of anchor the back line. And
it's a very polite way of saying I'm old. Thanks.
Well, I am not that much younger, so
that's also true. Yeah.
So that the reason is just for right now, based on recent track record, I would kind of put us in a group above those other three teams. But like I said, I think we have the ability to elevate to maybe get to the level of the top two teams. But the top two teams, I think, are just a cut above the others in terms of the overall amount of talent they have because one of them, it has 3 of the championship players from last year's team. So, that's going to be a taller.
I would say that, much like the LAPD team, people have a pretty good idea of where your guys' skill cap is and would likely put that higher than that team overall. And I think as well, the other positive you have gone through is that there's so much experience. So, you've got the best of, those other previous two teams, not weaknesses, but you know what I mean. You guys shine brighter in both of those kind of categories with experience and
we
talent.
have at least as much experience, but we also have more recent track record of success.
And then with if you compare your team to the Syracuse team, you guys have had a lot of recent a recent play experience as well. Versus
we also have youth. We also have some youth on our team.
Yeah, we somehow have both youth and experience simultaneously. It's kind of crazy.
No. But yeah, so that's where I think your team kind of shines above those other three teams, is that in those important categories, you kind of edge those teams out a little bit. That's not to say that nothing awesome / kooky could happen, and just to be a jerk, I kind of hope that it does. But
I'm training extensively to make sure that it does not, because I was certainly not happy with everything with my body's overall performance when I was in Loveland a few weeks ago. So I intend on being 1 or 2 levels up in terms of fitness from where I was. Now, I'm hoping I can maybe get a little bit more laser tag time in as well, but I know that's going to be kind of a complicated thing as well.
But yeah, it's you guys should be all good to kind of like beat those 3 teams out.
Again though, like our biggest question mark is how Dill will perform.
I think he'll be fine because he doesn't have to be.
I think so too.
He doesn't have to be the guy, like he doesn't have to be the one to like carry you guys.
He kind of.
Well, ideally, no one's going to have to carry, but
that's
if
right.
we have a carry player, it's Kadama. So.
Yeah, exactly. I would.
But
he can see over walls. That helps too.
Yeah, but I mean, there's just the fact that he won't have played for 2 years by the time things roll around. Like the first couple of days of the tournament for him are literally going to be knocking the rust off.
Yeah.
And how quickly the rust gets knocked off will directly impact where we are going to end up, because I think third is a reasonable expectation, but we could also shit the bed and end up down 5th, 6th.
Yeah,
we could shit the bed, but I'm also hoping that we can elevate to get into the top 2, because I think if you can make the grand final, anything can happen.
Yeah, anything can happen.
So that is really the goal. But like I said, it's going to be difficult. I think I would be dishonest to the viewers if I said that we were favored over either of the other 2 teams that we're going to mention.
Well,
our goal is to beat them, of course, but it's going to take work to do that.
Who are
just
those?
In the same way that I don't think a neutral observer would say that we were favored over Brisbane going into the finals last year.
Yeah.
The reality was they finished ahead of us.
Yeah.
So odds are odds.
Yeah.
All right.
Who
moving
are
on
those
to
teams?
moving on to the final 2 teams that right now we are picking as the more than likely grand final people.
So that would be Cedar City and Loveland A. I mean, Loveland A, no surprise, they're the top-ranked home team. They are expected to make the grand final. And if they don't, I know that all of them would be disappointed if they did not make the grand final. I think a lot of them would be disappointed if they didn't win, because they have invested a lot in this tournament. But I think that they have the right personnel. Now, the thing with Loveland was always they just couldn't quite find the right 6 and get them all to the same tournament at the same time. But now they have, and it's in their home field.
And what is that?
There's no more excuses.
And what is that 6? Since you're looking
that
at the
6
roster?
would be Mischief, Fear Turkey. So 2 people who were in Auckland last year. Simply Okay, Ghost, aka Jarrett, Brahmatized, and Sergeant Tucker.
Good team.
And
strong
Tucker
team.
says there's 7 of them. Who's the 7th, Tucker?
Oh yeah, who's the 7th? Who's the 7th?
Loki.
Oh, I didn't realize. Okay, that's a new development. I didn't realize that Loki was listed as 7th.
Interesting.
Yeah, and that. Okay, finally, it's somebody to raise their average age a little bit. So yeah, Loki can play some of the alternate games, but I would definitely say that when it comes to the grand final, I'm likely to see that 6. No offense to Loki, but let the kids handle that when it comes to the critical match.
What's a little?
So I wouldn't be surprised.
Just out of curiosity, if I don't know, one of those cats that's like the best players should play on the A team. If you have players left over that could potentially be on the A team, does it make sense that they drop onto the B team and make that team better? And if that's the case, why would Loki not play on the B team? Or am I missing something?
We'll let Tucker fill in those details if he feels like it.
If he feels like it. Yeah, he might just be like, oh, it's because mind your own business is why.
But yeah, they are expected to make the grand final. And having had conversations with several of them, both when I was in Loveland and even before that, they have high aspirations of winning. And they should be considered the favorite at this point, just because of their experience and the fact that it is their home field.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's pretty reasonable.
The
only reason that I would even hesitate to call them the favorites is because the Cedar City team, I think, is going to be incredibly strong. And they won. Basically, this Cedar City team won the last tournament that was in Loveland in West Coast last year.
Yeah.
And they have 3 world champions on their roster. So they're just going to be an incredibly hard to beat team.
And now this isn't a knock at him. I don't want this to come across as a knock, like directed at Loki. If this is more directed at everyone. If you are playing a tournament, the tournament should be treated with the respect that it requires. And by that I mean that if you are going to play a tournament and you want to play a tournament, go all in. Be all in. There's no I can't, I'm not sure if I really can get the time off work. Make it happen. If you want to play this tournament, this game that everyone else is like invested fully into, then make the investment.
I don't know if part of the reasoning for that is just so they have a potential like designated alternate if Simply Okay is going to have to take any time away, because by that point of the year he will have a very young child at home.
That's my point.
I don't know if that's part of the thinking or not, but yeah, I agree with you.
I'm not a parent.
If you're going to commit to a tournament, commit to the tournament and make that like your focus for that week. Take the week off of work, slot the time away. Maybe you're not even at home as you are not. You're actually staying like close to the center and just bonding with people. But
yeah. Look,
not everybody has necessarily our commitment to the game and the craft and that sense of competitiveness. But I tend to side with you on that one, Steve.
Yeah, man, I won't rant too much about it, and like I don't mean to come off as a dick. But like I don't know, man. Yeah, it is what it is. I can understand somebody not being able to play the full tournament. And you know what? Cool, awesome that Loki's like committed to taking like the pressure off Calkins, because being a new parent, I hear, is fucking difficult. So I don't know, maybe I'm speaking out of turn, but just I don't know. I'm not even going, so who the fuck cares what I have to say? Cheers.
Yeah. My only concern with Loveland A, and it's the running concern with Loveland. Yes, it does look like they finally have the right roster, and it is a very talented roster from top to bottom. At this point, there doesn't really seem to be any toxicity that would cause issues.
Nice.
But again, when we get into the tournament itself, is that going to maintain? And I hope it does. Like I genuinely hope that it does, and whatever adversity that team has, they meet it and they figure it out, and they don't blow up at each other and self-destruct. I do not want to see this team self-destruct. Let's be very, very clear about that. And I think the potential for it is infinitely lower than at any time in Loveland's history.
I would think that's pretty unlikely.
It's,
but it's the same thing that people say, until somebody actually wins, you're still waiting for them to actually do it. So it's like you can't pick somebody to win who's never won it before. Like that's true in like most of the sports. If you go into like the championship game, whether it's the Super Bowl, the NBA Finals, whatever, if one team's been in the finals before and the other one hasn't, even if the other team is really highly ranked, it's like, yeah, but can we pick them to win until we actually see them win the championship? Like, I feel uncomfortable picking them.
So you're going.
So I think there's maybe an element of that.
You're going with Utah or Cedar.
No, not necessarily. I'm just saying that I feel like that's probably like influencing people's interpretation of that, and not automatically labeling Loveland A as the favorites, even though they're the top team in their home field. Mm-hmm. It's just because of that question.
Yeah, right.
I personally, I think that these two teams are pretty closely ranked, and it will just depend on how things shake out during the week. But that Cedar City team is slotted to be Slaughtermelon, Snuffles, Thunder, Tandor, Meds, and I think there was still some discussion about who their sixth was going to be. There was talk of maybe Chaser, maybe Sadie. I had suggested that they should take Sadie, A, because of what they need on that team, and B, she's had a good track record of attending a lot of these events, whether they're tournaments or social nights. So if you're going to base it on need for the team, I think she would be a great addition. And if you're going to base it on, well, who do we know has been committed and has put in the reps lately, that would also speak to her favor. Yeah, but I also don't know everything about the internal dynamics of how some of those players have played with each other in the past, like at St. George. So the top five on their team is so strong and is the core of that same team that won the last West Coast and is just a great team. And it just has so much firepower at their three hits and their scouts that it's just going to be a very difficult team to deal with. And if anyone's going to take them down, I think it is most likely to be Loveland. But I would like to throw our hat in the running too. But if we are going to beat them, it's going to have to be with craftiness, maybe not with just head-to-head talent.
Yeah.
It's a very strong roster. The questions there are around Tandor does not live local, so hasn't played for
I don't think he's played since that last West Coast either.
Yeah, so he's got that whole Rust playoff thing that Dill has, and secondarily there, will he be able to outplay his reputation? Because whether rightly or wrongly, and we can have this debate another time, he has historically picked up a lot of penalties in tournaments, whether they're chases or shields, and that in and of itself has led to some drama in various moments. Now, if he
man likes to go up to the line, he's a habitual line stepper.
Yeah, and then because of that, and he steps over the line and gets hit for it and thinks he's innocent. So the real question for me with regards to that team is, how does he play? If he plays maybe a little safer and doesn't engender the penalties that he has on a historical basis, then I think that there's not much that is going to stop that team. However, if his reputation precedes him and people are going to be looking closer at him in game as refs because his reputation precedes him. Whether rightly or wrongly, that's human nature. Historically,
people
this
say
person
unfair,
has been hit for X, Y, and Z a lot. I need to look closer. If he handles that pressure and plays clean, and that particular set of drama / implosion never happens on that team, then I think they're going to be then I don't have any questions really about them very highly competing to be in the grand final. But if they have some sort of internal implosion around, excessive penalties, then then they could get beat by a few other teams. So that's, again, every team has a certain amount of question marks. That just happens to be the specific question mark for Cedar City. Again,
and it is worth remembering too that prior to that West Coast in 2022, I think kind of the story and the reputation on a lot of back then they were known as St. George, they weren't yet Cedar City, but they also had a track record of somewhat underperforming relative to how they'd done earlier in the tournament. Like that happened in Detroit, it happened in one of the Sacramento tournaments, it happened in some other occasion at that West Coast at San Marcos that we had, where they were considered to be heavy favorites, and it didn't happen. Like the gelling didn't happen for whatever reason. So again, that whole thing of, well, yeah, you can have that stink on you until you win, but when you win and you have that championship DNA, now all of a sudden it's like you have the respect of people. And it's we know that they can do it because they've done it before. And just the amount of talent that those top four guys have, I just have a ton of respect for. And it practically doesn't matter what combination you put them in that top four, who plays Commander Heavy or either Scout, because it's just a nightmare lineup regardless. So that's why I think they're going to be a real threat. And just, they have to be taken seriously because they have a track record of winning, and they won the last Loveland event, and they have a lot of players who have won several of the last tournaments in a row, or at least finished very high in the last several tournaments. So I would say that those two teams are likely to make the grand final, but like I said, I want to beat
at least one of them. I want to beat one of them and be there instead. Yeah.
Yeah, and then hope that things carry through in the grand final.
Here's a question for you. What outcome would be worse? Your team versus Cedar, your team versus Loveland A. What outcome would be worse for the team that doesn't make it?
Ooh.
Oh, it would be worse. No, there's no question. It'd be worse for Loveland. Yeah. Loveland needs to make the grand final because it's their home field. If they don't defend their home field, it's going to be a disappointment for them.
Fair.
Yeah.
I recently experienced this. It's fucking bullshit.
It's hard.
It is hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is, again, not to take anything away from the Cedar guys. They should also be making that. But when you're the home team, I think there is that additional little bit of pressure to be we're supposed to win because this is our field. We know how this field plays.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's no question in my mind that would be a worse outcome for Loveland if they didn't make the final.
Right on. But you said it before, it's hard to kind of, as an external person, put those expectations on a team that hasn't been there before, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. It's interesting. Scenario.
Yeah, I mean, similar to Auckland last year, there are a lot of talented teams that are going to be at Nats this year. There really aren't going to be any games that are going to be pushover games. Even if it's a Detroit Europe hybrid for that eighth team, the reality is there is still talent there. There are still people that it's still a good team. There's still people that know how to play. It's not like there is anybody that is coming into this tournament that's garbage. And so, for all that, it's we're picking teams in various places because that's kind of where we think the tiering is at this very early stage.
It's just our opinion.
Yeah, and we're just three idiots with microphones on the internet. So yeah, there's the reality is any team that is coming to this tournament could end up in the grand final. Are certain teams far more likely than others? Sure. But I think all of us can say that we've seen way too many weird things at tournaments to ever say, "Oh, this team has a 0% chance of making the grand final."
There's some kind of upset at pretty much every tournament that I've been to. Like, I don't know that I've ever managed to like pick a top 6 or 8 100% correctly, and everybody finishes exactly what they're supposed to. Like, I usually do okay, but there's usually some kind of surprise that happens during the week.
Which is the best. So, it's so good.
Yeah, and it's good. That's why you play. If we already knew the outcome in advance, it's like we wouldn't even play the tournament. We could just play socials anyway.
That's right.
You have to get into that competition and allow those variables to play out, and for that random shit to happen to make it exciting.
Yep. Just want to put a bookend on this podcast by reiterating that our opinions are purely purely just our opinions. They have no bearing on your opinions or anything else that's actually important. So take what
Charles
we say.
Barkley would say, "I may be wrong, but I doubt it."
And yeah, if you want to tell us that we're wrong, come into the Discord and tell us that we're wrong.
Yeah.
We don't mind.
We really don't. Yeah, and like, you know, we get opinion-y because it's our show. That's how we roll. But you know, no there's no personal offense or anything intended for anything that we talk about. So you know, trying to be as entertaining as possible. Right. Next week. This guy.
It's next week.
Next week. He ain't gonna be here. I'm going to Melbourne. So no show next week. The following week, DK is not around, so me and Tham might. Maybe we'll get a guest, bro. Should we get a guest? We should probably get a guest.
Well, so here's the other thing. Like that week is my birthday weekend, so maybe I won't be around either.
Oh, well,
so we might not have a show for a while. It just happens.
I'm gonna get 2 guests.
Just deal with it, yeah. Or get 2 guests, yeah.
We'll keep you guys posted when we're gonna have shows. Hopefully we can get some content out of this first Laser Force Disc Golf competition championship. Whatever. Yeah.
Have them on. Have Troy and Al on, and have
not a bad idea.
A 3-man old person disc golf discussion.
Or, you know, maybe we'll get some woman on the pod for a change. Oh, dude soup indeed. But yeah, we'll probably look to have a guest on that week. But yeah, no show next week. I'll be doing other streams next week. Probably next Wednesday I'll do another crafty evening, maybe with Frosthammer, maybe not. Who knows?
You're gonna have to give me a couple weeks before I do any craft stuff. Like, I'm about to hit like my avalanche of shit period of the semester where I just have papers to grade every single fucking week.
Like, so I'll put it this way: when you want to do it, you let me know.
All right, you got it, buddy.
Because I'll kick anyone off. For us to be like, oh, we're gonna hang out. Oh, actually, we're not hanging out. No. I'm gonna hang out with DK. But thank you guys for hanging out with us and, you know, putting up with our shenanigans. We really appreciate that you partially enjoy consuming our content. It means a lot. But for this week, I've been Guy Next Door.
I've actually been DK.
And I've been Than.
Always remember to backtrack, kids. We will see you next time. Ka kite ano.